So now that the indie gaming event is over, I wanted to do a vlog. I never thought I'd say that phrase. I want to do a vlog. So yeah, I wanted to do a vlog about my first few months on YouTube, and you can either stick around and listen to me, or you can skip to the end and find out what's going to be going on with the channel. So I had the idea to start doing YouTube earlier on this year, so I started doing some research on Amazon, and I put together a wish list of everything I thought I needed, you know, things that were decent, but had the lowest price point I thought I could actually get away with. And I waited until Prime Day, so I could get as much of a discount as I could. So I bought a mic and I bought a webcam. So I bought a webcam that came with chroma key or green screen background removal software, because one of the tips they tell you to do when you're starting out on YouTube is don't have a distracting background. So the idea was to get rid of all this, but I ended up never using it because I just hated the way it looked, like I was just a floating head. And I started out by trying to balance my webcam on this little windscreen that came with the mic, and that didn't work out either because the windscreen will just fall over whenever it wants to. I also bought this hue bulb because I thought it would help with my lighting, but is it too bright? But it doesn't really help me stand out from the background. So a couple months later I bought this gooseneck ring light that also had a phone holder that's actually kind of designed for makeup tutorials, and I ended up mounting my webcam to that. So I've never recorded, never edited, never done graphic design, but my webcam came with a trial of this program called XSplit, and I tried using that to record and edit, and it was just kind of garbage on both fronts. I wasn't happy with the results I was getting, but I got really lucky, and Humble Bundle put out this package about the time that I needed it that included Camtasia and several other pieces of software that I've started using for the channel. And that just kicked off a whole nother learning curve. And I never realized how long it takes to edit video. Like, I've got to set up positioning of both my videos. Like, I've got my me cam and I've got the game cam, and I have to orient them both to where I want them so that, you know, my camera is not covering up any important parts of the HUD, and I have to trim like way down to my shoulders usually. And then I have to set audio levels and stuff like that. But if there's a spike in the audio somewhere in the video, I have to, you know, slice that part out, adjust the audio to where I want it. And, you know, just listening to that over and over again really eats up a lot of time. So, you know, I can end up taking several times the amount of time the video actually is just trying to fix it. Like a 15-minute video, it might take me an hour, depending on how much footage I have. If I've got more footage than that and I'm cutting stuff out, it can take ages. So I did this series called 31 Days of Indie Horror, where I promised one video every day in October featuring a free indie horror game on itch.io. And I thought, you know, I can crank these videos out because the games are going to be short and I'm not going to be breaking the bank on games that might not even be good. But I ran into several problems, mostly based around what I'd promised. And even the trailer was a struggle because I was, you know, 7 or 8 videos ahead of my typical release schedule, and I'm thinking, I've got this in the bag, I can do this for a whole month, no problem. So I'm thinking, if I advertise this on Reddit, I can bring in more viewers and possibly subscribers. So I get this idea on September 28th probably, and I run the analytics and I find some subreddits I want to target, and the analytics say I need to have my video ready 8 a.m. on the 30th, and it needs to be up and out. So I start putting together a trailer. I don't have a title card, I barely have a script, and I don't have enough footage for games to put in my highlight reel. So I work all of it together. I'm up at like between 2 a.m. and 6 a.m. on the 30th, still recording game footage to put into the trailer. Between 6 and 7:45-ish, I record my voiceover part for the trailer and realize it's 3 times as long as it needs to be. So I trim that down, I get all the game footage together, I get my title card put together, I get it uploaded. 7:45, it's finally on YouTube. It's done. Then I just have to struggle to stay awake until 8 p.m. Sorry, 8 a.m. to actually post it. And then I couldn't go to sleep after that. Anyway, back to the point. I made 3 promises. 1, there would be a video every day. 2, the game in the video would be free. And 3, that game would also be on itch.io. I made this promise when I had maybe a third of the games recorded. And that's just saying recorded. I actually had to throw 3 of those games out later because I wasn't happy with the level of content that I would have been putting out. And another thing I didn't consider was I'd been pulling from the most popular list, and I didn't realize that the ones at the top of that list would be the good ones. So as I'm working down this list, I'm running into a lot more games that are just either broken or just not fun to play. And on top of all that, not only do I do YouTube videos, I watch people on YouTube. So it became a struggle to find games that were popular that hadn't been done by people I watch, because I can't go into a horror game knowing how to solve all the puzzles, because the suspense is what makes it fun. My second promise was that the game would be free. On itch.io, you can release a game completely free of charge. Here's the download, do whatever you want with it, or they can set a name your price option. And at first I tried to avoid the name your price options, because while they're technically free, I didn't want to be talking about how good these games were and then basically advocating that you don't pay anything for them. And I knocked a lot of games off my playlist because of that philosophy. And the problem arose when, I'd already recorded so many games before October hit, and then some of the devs changed from the free model to the pay what you want model, and it just kind of wiped all that out. So I had to change my philosophy, but it did open a lot of possibilities for me, and I think the content was better for it. I think the third promise was the worst, that every game had to be on itch.io. That really came back to bite me in the ass, because I saw all these games on Steam or GameJolt that were also free, but I had promised that they would be on itch.io, and I was, just painting myself into a corner again. I mean, I have less than 100 subscribers, so nobody would probably care if I broke one of those promises, but I would know. And that kind of goes against what I'm trying to do with this. Moral of the story, try to avoid promises that you're not sure you can keep. So I've mentioned Markiplier being my inspiration for doing this a couple of times, and he would say something every once in a while about his voice being thrashed from recording. I was like, what? You're just talking. And I didn't understand it until I was an hour and a half deep recording every line for every character in a visual novel, and my throat was sore, my voice was cracking, and it just really made recording a chore. And I actually ended up throwing that video out, which really stung, and it kind of leads me to my next point. A couple of times I've recorded, edited, and uploaded a video only to decide I'm not happy with it, or this isn't something I'd want to watch. Because with the time investment and how I'd put myself on a schedule, it was kind of heartbreaking to realize that I was, flushing hours of work down the drain. But I think to keep the overall quality somewhere that I can live with it, it was necessary. So if you stuck around, here's the big reveal. Christmas came a little bit early for me, so there's going to be some new equipment in the mix. Got a lav and field recorder set so that I can do more than sit in my chair. We've got a capture card so I can start bringing in console footage. And finally, the big boy. Well, I guess I'm not going to be able to get the whole thing in here. No, focus. Focus on that. There we go. So it's an HTC Vive, so we can do some VR titles too. Literally all of this hardware is brand new to me, so I'm going to be testing it pretty slowly to make sure everything is going to work for me. Right now what I'm most concerned about is the lav set, because it's going to determine how well the Vive and some of the other videos I have planned are going to go. I'm probably going to do a video where I use the lav and my stand mic at the same time to try and get used to syncing everything up and, making sure the quality is where it needs to be. And there's every chance that I'm about to have to learn how to use Audacity to do my audio mixing, so that's going to be another learning curve. On top of all that, this room is not really set up for VR in terms of where everything is and how cables are going to reach. Plus, it's kind of a mess, so it's going to be a little while before I can actually start putting this new content out. I don't expect everything to work out at first, but if you don't hear from me on YouTube, check the description for the links to Facebook and Twitter. I'll put any updates that I have on there. We'll get a community page on here one day. Anyway, until the next video, stay safe, take care of yourselves, and I'll see you around. Bye.